this whole time. Hello? What's going on? Oh my God, Lucky, you want to say hi, Bubik? Hi, Lucky. Hi. 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 Do you feel like I became a nicer person since Lucky? Celine saying that I became a nicer person. Say hi. Hi. Animals, I guess, make you softer. Maybe I'm ready for that, like, softness of life. Welcome back to Not Alone. I haven't done a sit-down solo episode in so long. There's a few updates that I want to just catch up on with you guys. Some recent things that have been happening. We had a Mexico trip. Okay, something that I just have to put out there because so many people were like, oh, how was Mexico? And by the way, Mexico was wonderful. But I gotta tell you, living in Miami, when you go on vacation, it's different, because we live in paradise. I'm sorry if it pisses any of you off, but right now it's summertime, so I hope everyone's happy and getting their dosage of vitamin D. But leaving Miami I was very much eager to jump on a plane when I lived in Toronto because of the cold and all the things. But here it's like when I go somewhere, I definitely kind of can't wait to get home. And now every vacation that we take, I really have to think about it twice to make sure it's something that I really want and need because it's pretty good at home, So tfu tfu tfu, all good, khamsa khamsa, like blessings, We got a new pup. No, we did not get a new puppy. We just have a puppy right now at the house because my mother decided to leave for 10 days and she thought it's a wonderful way for us to bond with her dog, Lucky. The boys have been really loving it, I have to say. I was very scared of having an animal in the house because I never grew up with pets. But I gotta tell you, it's nice. Also, I feel like Jake really needs a pet. Like I see a different kind of energy going on with him when he's with Lucky. First of all, he's so responsible, takes the dog out in the mornings, takes care of him, sleeps with him. So I'm starting to think about it. But not like getting an actual puppy, just like babysitting my mom's puppy more. But he's a really good boy. I'm warming up to the idea of having an animal around. Which also kind of crazy that I grew up, like my whole childhood, we did not have one animal. Not one. And I do think that it formed me as a person. For the good and for the bad. I don't know. Oh my God, Lucky, you want to say hi, Bubik? Hi, Lucky. Hi. 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 Do you feel like I became a nicer person since Lucky? Celine saying that I became a nicer person. Say hi. Hi. Animals, I guess, make you softer. Maybe I'm ready for that, like, softness of life. Okay, Lucky, go. Okay, go. Thank you. Go.
Maybe I'm ready for like 5 minutes. Oh, come here.
We also finished a year, school year. Another school year went by, which is absolutely insane to me. Maxi's going to first grade. I can't believe it's all happening so fast. He's going to be 7 in October. Oh my God, even me just like saying these numbers, I can't comprehend. Jake and Ben, Jake is going to 7th grade. Benjamin finished his elementary, going to middle school. So it's quite an intense emotional roller coaster for me because on one hand, I am definitely loving this period in life where they are so independent and grown boys and are able to articulate and say what they want and need from us. I really love that, especially now seeing one of my best friends just had a baby. Christina just had a baby. And just seeing that first year in the making, just like baby years, reminded me that I did not love it. I'm sorry, I'm just putting it out there. Did not love the first year. It was one of the hardest years, and by the way, with each one of them. So it reminded me that the first year of motherhood was absolute torture. I think that just adjusting to having a newborn in the house and, being a slave to the schedule. And by the way, I'm saying all these words, like if you're going to get offended by the choice of words, that's how I felt, okay? That was my experience. I didn't find joy. I didn't find stillness in it. There were obviously many moments where you just look down and your heart like fills up. It feels like it's about to burst and you love this little thing more than anything. But it was very hard for me. I don't miss it at all. Like at all. So I am very grateful for surviving those years and having my kids now at an age where it's easy to travel, it's easy to converse, it's easy to have fun, and I can kind of be more of a myself around them, more of a friend, because also Gary is the adult in the room now. They're at this age where, he's doing his full on disciplinary act, and I'm just here to have fun. So I'm loving this era for me right now. But this time doesn't come without its own lessons, if I'm being honest. So in Mexico, they experience just navigating their personalities now as they're getting older. Obviously, Jake is getting into he's already in preteens, he's 12 years old. This age comes with its own challenges. And something that I've realized, I made a reel about it on Instagram, is this one thing that they don't tell you when you become a parent, that you will need to change your parenting techniques per kid. Like every child, the way you speak to them needs to be different because every kid is unique. Also, it needs to change your parenting style based on the season the child is in, right? Because I see myself attending to certain situation or challenges differently with Max compared to Jake or Ben. They're in different seasons right now, building different kind of set of skills, seeing the world in a different way. So that also has to change. And then also maintaining this consistency while you're changing as a person. So basically, you have split personality disorder. That's what you had. Is that what it's called? Personality disorder? Split? No, it's a personality disorder overall. But that's how it feels, honestly, at this stage in life. So you really have to be so intentional and so aware. And obviously, you cannot be most of the times in order to just survive the hectic schedule and life itself. You go on autopilot, which I think is very normal. And I give myself grace with that. I think the biggest thing that I'm teaching the boys is to call me out. Like, call me out when you see that I am doing something that doesn't serve you, or if I'm on autopilot and maybe missing certain things. And that to me is the biggest thing in our household. I actually take time to tell Jake, because Jake calls me out the most. You always have this one child. Actually, Ben does the same thing, but you also have one child that really like puts a mirror to you. So for me, I would say it's both Jake in a most like blunt way and Ben in a more constructive, wise way. It's truly is the biggest thing that I over index and stop to tell them how grateful I am that they do that for me. And by the way, we had that little thing happen in Mexico where Ben set me down. We had a disagreement with Jake, and Ben set us down and he's like, guys, I just want to give you some feedback. That's literally what this 10-year-old said to me. I want to give you a little bit of feedback about the way you approach things with Jake. And isn't that the biggest gift? Because we are raising them to be full functioning, sovereign adults, And I think that sovereignty needs to start happening when they are still kids. Obviously not little kids, but to a point where they are able to articulate what they need from us. I was reminded about this episode that I was listening to. It was with Naval and this doctor who wrote a book, The Sovereign Child. I don't remember his name. That's the name of the book. And it was this whole episode talking about how he creates this sovereign environment for his kids. Now, I don't necessarily fully agree with the amount of sovereignty and freedom that is giving to kids, because I think it's very important for kids to have discipline and kind of rules to follow, and they need structure. Also, every kid is different, of course. But it did leave me with this idea that I sat with and actually talked to Gary about, of how do we expect these kids when they turn 18 to go out into the world and just figure it out themselves when they're not primed to do it when they were little and in a safe space, right? When they are living in your household and you're not giving them the opportunity to express themselves, to make bad decisions, to have the ability to make choices, even if they're bad choices. It's so important because you can also then see what they're initially leaning towards, right? Some kids have different types of tendencies. Like even the way my kids use electronics, each kid uses it very differently. So for me, giving them this sovereignty also shows me how each of them operates, and then gives us, like Gary and I, kind of a understanding of, okay, we need to over-index on teaching these skills or on talking about this thing, because in the future, when he is not in a safe space and he needs to make these decisions, I want him to have the full context or understanding of what the consequences can be. So it's a lot, but I'm going to attach that episode in the show notes because I do think it was a fascinating one. But that kind of also helped me with navigating this season for Jake and Ben right now as parents, and I'm still figuring it out. Another thing that made me kind of stop and think and start taking action is that I've realized I don't have a lot of friends with kids with the ages of Jake and Ben. I have a lot of friends with Maxie's age group, but not many with the older boys age group, and I need to make more of an effort. So for this coming year, for this new school year, I told myself I have to be more involved with the school, with the community, with their friends and families. I obviously want to make sure that the kids that my kids hang out with, I approve of their families and how they're being raised and their values, because one thing that we talk with Gary a lot about is the idea that now at these ages, we are no longer their only example. They're actually now starting to listen less to us and get cues from the second environment, which is their friends and their family friends and our friends, right? Those are the people now that they're looking at to get an understanding of the world and behaviors and things like that. So I have to be dialed in. And here's another set of responsibilities that is coming my way, but it's a new season and I'm excited for it. I think I'll do great. I think. There's some really great moms out there. I need to put myself out there and to connect, you know? So that's where I'm at. It's interesting because I still, if you ask me, if I would choose kind of like the first few years when they're very little to now, I definitely would choose now. I think this is my season of like, I love this season of parenting. But it's very interesting because I do have friends that would 100% rather do the first couple of years because it's easier. You can get it under control, you know, and it's in your control. But I do enjoy them just being their full selves and, you know, having these conversations where sometimes you sit there and talk about topics and it hits me that it's like, these are my kids. Like we made this, not my kids, our kids, Gary's and mine kids. Sorry, babe. He gets really upset when I say mine, and I get it. I'm trying to correct it. I don't know if anyone else deals with that problem, but it's our kids, and we raised them and did a pretty good job, but wish us good luck, okay? Because you know what they say, small kids, little problems, big kids, big problems. Hopefully it will be big kids, little problems, but we'll figure it out. We'll take it day by day. Father's Day just came and went, and I saw something on Instagram that made me laugh because on Mother's Day, I feel like moms create, or the family creates these opportunities for moms to spend time with the kids, where on Father's Day, I feel like a lot of the activities are kind of for the fathers to relax, which made me laugh. But what I loved about Father's Day, and I actually shared it on Instagram, is when I sat down with the kids, with Jake and Ben, and I asked them, if you made a really big mistake and you need to call somebody, who would you call? And both of them said, without a doubt, Papa. And that filled my heart with so much joy because he is, like I mentioned, is the disciplinary right now. And I feel like he's giving them a harder time than I do because he's raising them to be men, honorable men. You know, it's such a difficult balance to strike of having kids that trust you and are not scared of you, but respect you and know that all the things that you're trying to do and teach, even if it's in ways that they don't really, enjoy right now, come from a place of empowering you. So for them to look at him as this resource of strength and stability, and anything happens at all, they can call him, is such a blessing. And it just reminded me on this Father's Day how important men are, father figures in girls' lives, boys' lives. I can only talk about my experience, as a girl. Like, I didn't have really a stable father figure. Seeing that my kids have one is just, it heals so much in me. I just really hope that we talk about it, about how important this role is in a child's life. I just wanted to say thank you to Gary for being such an amazing father figure. You're the best. Our kids are doing great. So we are gearing up for our summer plans, which is exciting. Every year, the way I kind of want our trips to be planned out is like every year we decide to go to a destination. My kids are now at a place where, again, it's easier to travel with them. They retain information. I know that the things that we do, they care about and they're listening, and it's enjoyable for us. Like, I want to have those experiences. So we started doing kind of Europe trips, and 2 years ago we did France and the UK, specifically London and Paris. And then last year we decided to do our trip in the US, which we rented the motorhome. How do you call it again? Yeah, something like that. I don't remember the name. We went on a little road trip for a few days, and that was extremely fun. So now we're going back to Europe. We're actually doing Spain. There's a lot of history there that I want the kids to learn about. And also, Spain is one of my favorite places I've ever traveled to. I remember Barcelona being the first place that I went to in Spain. I was 17, and I shot for like Pull and Bear and some other really cool brands, and Bershka, and I had just such an amazing experience. And to me, the culture in Spain is very similar to how I grew up. I love the people, I love the energy. So I'm really excited to go back with the kids for it. And then next year, I definitely want to do the US. I want to go somewhere, maybe not in a motorhome, because been there, done that, It was fun for a first time, and I can say that I can do it, but I don't want to anymore. So just putting it out there. I don't want to. But I love the idea of a road trip in like a car and then stopping at bed and breakfast spots. There's little hotels throughout, like luxury, like glammed road tripping. Glam tripping. I don't know. I'll find a way to brand it. Anyways, that's what we're going to do next year. But back to this year, we're leaving in a week or two, and I'm so excited. I built a whole itinerary. I've worked with an amazing agency that just really put a great little bespoke itinerary for us. We're going to do Barcelona, we're going to do Madrid, and then we're going to do Marbella. So 2.5 weeks away, almost 3 weeks. Wish us luck. It's really funny for me because I am so ready for the adventure, but Gary loves his routine. Gary loves being home. And I, again, am so grateful that he is very open to these kind of trips, but I can get very eager about just booking a lot of other things, which I've already came to him with 100 other ideas. And he's like, why don't we do this and then just come home and maybe work, maybe do our routine and just sit for a little bit and enjoy. And I don't know what it is. Is this like my personality? Is this a woman trait in general? But I just feel like there's so much to do. And then when I do all the things that I want to do, at the end of it, I'm like, I'm so tired, didn't have a chance to rest. So it's a slippery slope, but thankfully I have Gary to balance it out. But this is going to be our summer trip, and I'm going to keep you posted, obviously, constantly on social media. I think it's going to be great. Great. Yes. Okay. That's the spirit. In all honesty, I feel like I stepped away a little bit from showing up on social media. And maybe a lot of people didn't notice because I shoot a lot of content and have a big library of content. So even when I'm not feeling it or I'm off, content constantly goes out, but I haven't really been present on the platforms because, first of all, there's just so much going on in the world. And I feel like whenever I'm on social media during these times, it just really throws me off and takes me to just like a dark hole. It feels like everyone is yelling something. And I just really realized that it's not benefiting me. So I usually kind of step away from that. That's one of the reasons. Another reason is I've just been kind of giving myself the space to be in this kind of funk, and not rushing to get inspired and back at it and just like producing things all the time. And I feel like it's been serving me well. It's a slower kind of comeback, but I'm feeling good. It feels right to be in this place right now. And I feel like it's a big progress for me because usually the in between, between the rut and the like motivation and action, there's this space that a lot of us feel very lost and confused about because it's kind of ambiguous. And I've learned to sit in it and just to be comfortable in it and know that it's a matter of time and it's part of the process. So I'm there. I don't judge myself for it. I mean, I judge myself a little bit for it, but then I remind myself, this is where I'm at. And I kind of build a little map for myself of, the in-between moments that I need to be aware of so it doesn't drag me to like this dark place. And that's kind of where I'm at. But I starting to feel better. I'm starting to feel more inspired, maybe also because of this disconnect and the limiting access to information that also kind of gives me the space to think. I feel like I'm coming back to a new version of myself. Stay tuned, my friends. There's so much to come. Also been really into listening to what is kind of the universe, people, like all the things it's trying to tell me. I have a few projects that are going on right now, and it's interesting because some of them are not moving as fast as I want to or the way I want to. And it's the first time in my life where I'm looking at it at an early stage and I'm like, this is an amazing redirection. Like there's something that is signaling me to look at a few other options in there or a few different kind of ways to get through the goal that I want to get to that I haven't considered. And it's really empowering when things don't go your way because you are learning so much about another perspective or another way to look at things. So I'm there also right now. There's a lot going on. Currently reading some interesting books. I actually picked up the biography of Barbara Walters, and it's called Addition. I find her to be just like a really fascinating woman. I'm only halfway through, but I'm just fascinated by her grit and by her ability to believe. And I think that happens when you're young and you go for things, to believe in kind of the evolution that she's going through. And maybe that's, the ignorance of youth, or maybe it's when you don't have a choice. But this is what the book right now is leaving me with. And I will definitely share with you review once I finish it. I really want to hear if you are reading anything, any book recommendations, anything at all that you want to share with me. Let me know. That is my love language. Also, I know I shared it before, but I did read the first book of ACOTAR, I think that's the name, the fantasy books, because I see it everywhere and I was like, okay, let's see what's the rage here. In general, fantasy books became so popular, I would say, in the last couple of years. So I picked one up. I gotta say, I wanted to hate it. I didn't hate it. It was good, but I don't think I'm a fantasy girly. So, yeah. But if you have maybe any other recommendations, I'm here for it. Also, would love to hear just like how you navigate if you are a mother, if you do have kids that are in this kind of later seasons in life. I really want to hear more about your experience because right now, because I don't have that community of other moms that have these ages, I feel a little bit alone, I'm not going to lie. So if you can reach out and just share any recommendations, I will be so forever grateful because this podcast is all about being not alone and all about community. So hit me up. I loved doing the propaganda video on social media on Instagram and TikTok. So if you're not familiar with the concept, it was this whole trend of that became viral, which was people sharing the propaganda they're not falling for. I wrote my own kind of list of things that I will absolutely not gonna fall for, and I actually want to expand on a few points because I got so much engagement and so many questions, and I thought this would be the best opportunity to expand on it. So the first propaganda I'm not falling for is taking supplements without blood tests. Guys, somebody gotta say it. We have to change the way we consume supplements, medication. You have to go to a doctor to get prescription. It should be the same thing with supplements. Not going to a doctor, but getting more of an understanding of your body, your genetics, what's going on, and what you actually need. I feel like the days when supplements were just shoved to us and we would buy everything and anything, every week there's kind of a new trend of something. Those days are gone, honestly. I'm saying it because I recently worked with a functional doctor and I did my blood work, I did my hormone testing, I did my genetic testing, I've done everything. And listen, it's an investment, but considering the amount of money I used to spend on supplements and all these things that I thought I need, it probably came out to be cheaper than the money I spent there. So I did just like a full 360 on how I'm even genetically built to know what I should be taking and what my body is maybe not absorbing properly, all the things. And I got such insane information. Again, most of us think and know, right, based on a general kind of understanding, when you are in the sun, you're getting your vitamin D. I don't absorb vitamin D well from the sun, so I have to take a supplement. So this is something for me that I didn't know. I would rely on these notions that, yeah, for general public, it's something that you can get from the sun. My body is not built like that. The way I sleep, the way I eat, the foods that I eat, I've learned that greens is not something that works well for me. I've learned that I need more help with certain digestive things. I need to pay attention to my liver. My function of the liver is not ideal right now. So things that I know I can not only support myself and correct before it becomes a bigger problem, but also just pay attention to. So I am all for investing in getting as much as you can information about your body and what you need and not fall into every supplement trend that is coming out right now. That really changed the way I navigate my wellness and health and made me feel more empowered about navigating it, right? Like even when I go to a doctor, I have this information, I have data, I have lab tests, I can go and give the doctor information so they can actually build an individualized approach to whatever issue that I have. So again, we are living right now at a time where you have so much opportunity to get you information about your own body. You have an opportunity to learn what's best for you and to take back that power. Doctors and the medical system, all of them, like, I'm not vilifying anybody, they all have their place in society, but I feel personally that I used to put all these people on pedestal and assuming that they know better than me. Even the supplement companies, like based on a research that comes out, coconut oil is great for you. Okay, look at me running to consume coconut oil or this or that or some, I don't know, sea moss. I don't know what's going on there, which I heard is good. I didn't look into it because I cannot add any more viral supplements into my system, okay? I'm just saying, like, there's constant barrage of all these things that are coming at us. And now that I'm equipped with all this information, I just feel like I can make better decisions and inform the providers that I work with, if it's a doctor, if it's a functional, if it's gynecologist, whatever it is, inform them about my body. So to me, that is where we at, and I hope that more people will start leaning into it. So propaganda, I'm not falling for. Second one, I just touched on it, ACOTAR, fantasy books. It's been shoved down my throat for the past year and a half, 2 years. I don't know who paid TikTok or these like book creators to talk about fantasy and fantasy only. Like, I understand that every person have their own preferences when it comes to genres. And I know that the way my brain works, like fantasy is not necessarily my cup of tea, or maybe the fantasy that I picked up is not my cup of tea. I am open-minded, okay? Just give me the right thing that will work for me. But anyways, picked up ACOTAR, fell for it for the propaganda, and I don't get it. I don't get it. Every time it started getting good, I don't know, these like fairies popping up and just like, I don't know. I did hear that the second book is better, and I started the second book. I'm obviously feeding into it, so I don't know why I called myself out not falling for it. I definitely fell for it. Started the second book, and it's a little spicier, which I like. But again, I don't know, not running to it. I actually read a couple of chapters and I moved on. I picked up Barbara Walters instead. But maybe it's a personal preference. But if you have a suggestion for a fantasy book that will take my breath away, you shoot it. You bring it my way. Don't shoot it. Bring it to me. Yes, amazing. The second propaganda I'm not falling for, 50-50 relationships. But I feel like it's already old news. I think that a lot of us talk about it enough for it not to be this thing that we still all trying to achieve. I, again, also think it's very individual. What does 50-50 even mean? I actually had this episode with Vivian too last year, and we just brought back this piece of content that she said, I don't believe in equality, I believe in equity, which was very interesting. So she looks at 50-50 in a different way. It's 50-50 based on what you're earning or what you're bringing in, right? So it changes based on that. I think it's tricky. I think that the classic of just like 50-50 without taking into consideration the different roles and responsibilities that each partner have in their relationship, that's what I have a problem with. But again, to each their own. Honestly, if 50-50 feels empowered, then go for it. If it's empowering for you, go for it. But I do think there's a lot of more nuance to it. Okay, the next one is basing my political views off of social media. Again, it feels to me like it's a competition of who yells the loudest and who is the most aggressive and enforcing their opinions on other people. There is really no open dialogues anymore. There's obviously a lot of misinformation. Actually, one of the comments that I got under that is like, well, at least you have so many different opinions, rather where before we just relied on these news outlets that are also, are very biased based on who they are and who pays them. And I get it. So I'm not vilifying it. I just am very wary of people that are coming out and speaking with such conviction, people that didn't even know, some of them don't even know where these places are located on the map, zero geopolitical understanding, no history understanding. So I just found too many people, if they come up and speak in a convincing way, people are buying it. So for me, I really had to put this very critical lens of what I listen to and who I listen to. So that's my take on that. Especially now with AI and just like there's just a lot of nonsense out there. The next propaganda I'm not falling for, being overdressed, and I want to give 100% credit to Miami for that, because I gotta say, even in growing up in Israel, you don't really overdress. Like everyone is pretty casual. It's all about comfort. So I grew up in that environment and I was always overdressed because, you know, Russian culturally, my mother was always like dressed up when she would drop me at school in Israel. She was always the most like hair down, makeup down, outfit. Israelis have a different approach to it. So I already grew up in a country where it's like, okay, don't do too much. And then moving to Canada, which also similar, I gotta say, very like low key, don't really dress up. You don't have too much opportunities either because the country is like 7 months of the year you're freezing your butt off. You know, I got comfortable with just being simple and being aware of it, of this, like, I don't want to pop off too much. Or maybe it was also the season I was in life where I just like, don't pay too much attention to me. I don't want to be the center of attention. But coming to Miami and getting the Latin inspiration over here, I gotta say that's something that I absolutely love about Miami is the influence of Latin America, right, is so powerful that it makes this place so bright and loud and energetic. And I love the way people dress here. I love how I remember still our first year when we just got here. Actually, what first month when we would go to a restaurant, like a low-key restaurant, just to have dinner, an early dinner. Women would walk in dressed like something I would wear to a wedding as a wedding guest, like beautiful dresses, hair down, makeup down, put together. And I was like, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore, you know, like that kind of feeling. So I had to adjust that. I had to break through it. And I realized that there is no such thing as being overdressed. There is such a thing being underdressed. Definitely not overdressed. And I love the season that I'm in where I can fully lean into it and have fun with it. And there's places to go, things to do. It's just part of it. It's like it makes being woman like such a fun thing. This is our form of play as adults. And I definitely want to make sure that it never goes away. Okay? So thank you, Miami. Next propaganda I'm not falling for, healing as a personality. You guys know what I'm talking about. You know, because it feels like to me, since the marketing machine touched, well, not even touched, but captured this whole category of healing and wellness and mental health, it really became a serious industry. Listen, it's a huge industry. It really touches on a very sensitive part of people's lives. You know, we're all now hearing how we need to optimize, how we need to heal. There's so much trauma, all the things. And I think that at the end of the day, you know, people are programmed to want to be better and want to free themselves and kind of get to a point where they're happy. And this industry is selling this kind of solution for happiness. And I see how many people are falling for it and how many people are getting into a different kind of addiction. Yes, you can get addicted to drugs, alcohol, or whatever else, but I truly see that you can also get addicted to this constant self-improvement and self-help kind of narrative. And a lot of people lose themselves in it. So when I see people that make that their whole, you know, personality, it alarms me. It's a red flag. I think that life is hard and it sucks sometimes and you never truly heal and there's no this like final destination. That's just the journey. And if anything, you want to learn how to build resilience, which, by the way, I heard this definition a couple of weeks ago and it really resonated with me. This woman was saying that the way she defines resilience is the amount of time it takes her to bounce from this negative emotion back to her kind of base level, right? That's resilience at the end of the day. So really building that muscle of learning how to navigate through life and to shorten the period of time of how long it takes you to kind of get over, not even get over, but just bounce back. That's, I think, is what we're all after. You know what I mean? All these trauma and generation, like all these things are wonderful to talk about. And I think it's amazing the kind of advancement we made in society as a whole about talking about these things. But I think it's this aspect of constantly looking for solution and validation and other people to save you, or I don't know, modality to save you, is what I have a problem with. So life is hard. It sucks, you know. It is what it is. Am I insensitive? You see, the dog did not make me a softer person. I just, I don't know. Life is a video game, you know? That's how I look at it. Okay, the next one is, which I'm already contradicting myself with this one, because the next one is moving from healing as a personality, which was, we took a minute to go kind of deep. We're moving to capri pants. This is a propaganda I'm not falling for, but actually one of the killer outfits that I have for Spain is capri pants. So I'm going to shut up before I dig myself a bigger hole. Which, by the way, let's talk about propaganda that I am falling for. Contradicting yourself. I think it's okay. I think we should never be 100% certain about anything, because every day brings a new experience, a new perspective, and you know what? You want to change. I don't want to be stuck in my ways. I want to say that I hate something and then the next day picking it up and being curious about it. That's just me. So capri pants, I have one outfit. I'm going to take it for a ride, and I'll let you know. Skipping breakfast. This one I'm having a hard time with, because my genetic testing actually showed me that I am a good candidate for intermittent fasting. So I'm going to connect it back to do blood work and overall testing to learn what your body can naturally do well. And by the way, let me actually add another point, skipping breakfast, but also I was convinced that this whole hot and cold and like all these temperatures are not great for me, and my body actually have an amazing resilience to it. Like my body type and how I'm built, this is something that can benefit me. So I've been kind of moving away from cold plunges, and I'm going to go back. Why? Because I know my body better. Look at me. And then last but not least, this one was also one that ruffled some feathers, and it's the let them theory. I gotta say, I have mad respect for Mel Robbins. I think she did such an amazing job with just packaging that whole thing. Again, not something we haven't heard before, but packaging it in a way that is very easy and consumable. At the end of the day, all these self-help people and gurus, you know, it's just rebranding something that's been said before, right? We're not getting anything new and revolutionary, but I do appreciate and know how to appreciate communicators. And she's an amazing communicator. So this packaging and marketing around Let Them Theory is great. What I didn't agree with, and it came from a place of, I didn't read the book, so I know that she added a section talking about kind of the self-responsibility that you have. But initially, what I didn't love about it, because I assume that most people that hear it won't go and read the book, is this idea of just not having the self-awareness to know when someone gives you certain feedback or trying to tell you something, or maybe the world is trying to tell you something, you just kind of dismiss it by like, let them. They're just haters. So it's this deflecting a lot of the lessons that might be revolutionary for our growth as people. But again, I know that there was this part in the book where she talks about you can let them only when you let you or let me. There's a lot of letting involved. But anyways, that was kind of my initial thing with it, you know? I'm curious to hear your thoughts, because I know there are diehards out there for her, so I am all for it. So this was my video, and I stand behind, well, I actually revised a couple of them, but I stand behind all of these, and I'm open for anybody or anything to change my mind, you see? Because I'm Open-minded over here. And what's in? Contradicting yourself. Yay, okay. I want to definitely do the next solo, maybe talking about the propaganda I did fall for. Because there is quite a few things that I'm here for it. I am fully committed and supporting the mission behind these things. So maybe the next one I'll do it. Okay, you guys, this solo was a little bit different. Was it? I actually don't know. You tell me. But I would love to hear your thoughts, requests, questions of what I should expand on the next one, what you want to talk about. Do we like these updates about life? Do we want more specific topics to cover? You let me know. Do we want to talk about the books that changed my life? I don't know. I need feedback. I love you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't miss my newest episode right here. And if you're listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, please go and leave a review with your biggest takeaway. I love reading your thoughts. They inspire me. So if you have any suggestions for guests or topics, you can leave them in the comment section. And always, always remember, you are not alone.